Do you love the Dreamcast? I love the Dreamcast. That's why I want to play and complete every single game on the system. Between my long retrospectives, of course, there are almost 300 Dreamcast games in English, so join me on my adventure to beat them all. The order I play them in is totally random, and last week's episode we completed Red Dog Superior Firepower. This episode, game number 6, is Pod Speedzone, also known as Pod 2 in Europe. Developed by Ubisoft's cheap labor camp, Ubisoft Bucharest in Romania, and published by Ubisoft themselves, this game was made with online gameplay in mind. In fact, it barely has any single player content. Not that the online is swimming in stuff, but how are we going to quantify beating an online only game? Well, okay, there is an arcade mode, so that's what we're going to do. There's no tournament style competition, it's just you, pick your car, pick your track, and race. And so I'm going to win every race. There are only 5 tracks available, more if you play online, which is a bit weird, and yeah, that does mean the only thing I need to do to beat this game is to win 5 races. I'll be disappointed if it ends up taking longer than 20 minutes, to be honest. Let's have a look. Before I pick the track though, let's take a look at the cars. There's the Cougar, the Crab, but that's online only, the Scarab if you like poop, and seriously, look at that ass. Wasp has a similar booty, Bulldog is locked. There's Sea Cat, which I don't know if is a real animal. There's also Piranha, if you've got a misguided reputation, and Viper. Let's go with Viper for the time being, because that sounds cool. Scrolling through the stages, we're starting off with Canyon. Default settings, 5 laps. Now, the first thing I noticed about this game is just how miserable it is. There are only 5 racers, the physics are unsatisfying, and the tracks aren't particularly interesting. Every jump on this track is happy to plow you into something else, or make you bounce super awkwardly and ruin your day. You end up facing backwards from time to time, which is an instant no-win pretty much. There's some fairly hefty rubber banding with the AI opponents as well. You ain't leaving them in the dust, that's for sure. You may notice that there are various routes on the track, which is commendable. I don't know if they act quicker or less dangerous, but some of them offer different item pickups. The red orb is health restoration, purple is like a wave attack, yellow acts as a super boost, and blue restores your normal boost. That's it. Super simple, and I'm finding I'm not getting anywhere. Even on my 3rd, 4th try, the AI got me beat. Or should I say the programming got me beat, making the car fling awkwardly, very unexpectedly. But at this point, I started taking different routes, and I think I got it down eventually. I just had to make sure I didn't balls it up by ramming into a monster or taking the wrong angle on a ramp. My 4th try was going to be super sweet, like leading for the majority of the race until the final section did me a dirty. Like, come on, I finished 3rd. This is definitely going to be more annoying than I thought. I've already hit the 20-minute mark that I was hoping for the entire game. On my 5th go, despite a rough start and coming 2nd on the very last corner, I boosted my way to victory. Finally. And did I say this game's kinda miserable? It's so unbelievably bland and generic. There are some decent ideas in having levels that change a little bit over time in terms of monsters that roam around. It's kind of unpredictable, but so are the physics, which just want to throw you around all over the place. It's also visually unappealing too, and so devoid of content. I would be massively disappointed if I had this as a kid. Even if I had online, as new and fresh as that was, this was farted out over a weekend, I'm sure. For the 2nd race, I thought I'd try a different car. I was hoping there's a starter that would make it actually stick on the road and in the right direction. I went with the Piranha because they get a bad reputation, they need some positivity. The 2nd track is Volcano, and I may have made a mistake with this car because this car does not turn. It just doesn't. Not great when the entire track is one long curve and you're scraping your arse along the sides like a dog wiping its arse. I'm magnetically attached to the sides, it seems. What I didn't realize up to this point is that the car has health. It didn't seem important in the first race, but like anyone wearing their arse cheeks down with sandpaper, it's gonna start to build up. And this race, I almost lost my entire life were it not for picking up some health recovery. Despite everything in its power trying to stop me, like this random vine that decided to make me do a 180, I actually did pretty well first time of asking. In fact, I won. I won on the first try. That made me kinda happy. It kinda helps that there's no ridiculous bumps or outward sticking walls to stop me. Since it seems the Piranha is quite lucky, I decided to stick with it for the next track. So what if the thing can't turn? It's a beast. Bridge Ride is track 3. It wasn't an auspicious start as I got whipped rather harshly at the first crossroads. Not being able to turn really hurt me on some of these corners. It feels like it was more difficult than it should have been, squarely down to the fact I was driving a train rather than a car. It was tight, all the way up to the end. The final parts of the final lap when I acquired 2 shiny boost power-ups, which took me on home for the win. First time of trying. Technically second time when I restarted almost instantly, but I'll call it the first time because it makes me feel badass. That's 2 tracks in a row done in one. I wouldn't say it felt easy, but compared to the first race, I was kind of worried this was going to be a pain in the ass. Now I'm sticking with the Piranha, definitely lucky. And the next track is the K-Zone, which either means it's a child's play area or it's going to be a ketamine-filled trip. I'm hoping it's the latter because I'd rather not have to run over children. It didn't start well because, well, there are no children nor anesthetic in sight. This is false advertising. But also, I crashed awkwardly and restarted. This stage was probably the most difficult of the lot of them. There are just so many corners and different routes to take and things to get caught on. And any opportunity for the game to spin you around, it most definitely will oblige. I tried going a route that the CPU never goes on, like super tight right angles that look like it should be a shorter distance, but nah, it's just way too slow. No wonder they don't go that way. I tried a couple of times with my lucky Piranha, but it seems his luck had run out, and I decided to turn my attention to a car that might actually be able to turn. And I turned my attention to the Wasp. And boy did it feel weird being able to finally turn. It almost felt like the car was breaking the rules of physics since it was so responsive. I didn't win the first time of trying because the track enjoyed giving me a massive middle finger once in a while, but it was a promising start. It actually felt doable. I was winning for most of the race until I randomly got flipped, because of course I did, and then it just kept getting worse. I ended up finishing second, but I was way more confident for the next time as long as I was careful not to get screwed. I found a decent tactic of nicking all the boost power-ups in one section of the track so the CPU couldn't use them, which is how I basically lost the previous time, and it worked. I played more tactically and I came first. Second time of trying with this car. Now there is one final track left for this video, Mind's Web. This has got some more prehistoric stuff going once again. I massively ballsed up on pretty much the first run. Normally I'd have restarted, but I thought, I might as well learn the track a little bit. It's quite a short track. I think it's the shortest in the game, but there's loads of routes to go through. I tried a couple, but I quickly settled on the one that seemed to work for me. Even though I wasn't exactly racing well, I was always bumping into stuff and not exactly taking the best racing line, I was somehow winning for the most part. Well, it was going alright until lap 4 when a random pterodactyl spun me out. That was disheartening since I thought I was on a win for like the first time of trying. It turns out that with 1 lap to go, I managed to catch up, and with the liberal usage of the boost, I somehow made it. First time of trying, and I couldn't have been any happier because that means I've completed the game according to my rules, my requirements, and thank God, because this was perhaps one of the blandest, inane games that I've ever played. It's not like outright bad, it's just offensively boring. It lacks any sort of personality, and the physics and track design really could have done with a bit more thought. I truly believe this was farted out on the Dreamcast, lacking any sort of content with the excuse that online play would be the content. I don't know why anyone would choose to play this online though. In terms of fun gameplay, I'd give it a 2 out of 10. It's definitely way below average. Presentation, I'd give a 5 out of 10. That definitely is average. And in terms of difficulty, yeah, it was pretty tough. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It is kind of short, but some of those races can be quite difficult. How long did it take me to complete? About 1 hour and 10 minutes, give or take. A bit longer than I'd hoped, but hey, at least I didn't have to play it for 20 hours. Thanks for watching. Did you play this one back in the day? What did you think of it? If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor, leave a like, and even better, check out my Patreon with the link in the description because you can get these videos early and ad-free alongside so many other perks that it's definitely worth it. In fact, you can probably watch the next episode right now. The RNG gods picked Street Fighter 3 Double Impact, some more 2D fighting goodness. And it's a double pack, so yeah, I'm hoping my fingers can survive the ordeal. Subscribe, watch the playlist of all the games currently completed. Special thanks to my super producers Alexander Cato, Brent McLean, FF14 Best RPG, JCross7776, Vey, Sven Nowlertz, and Wixit. Thank you ever so much for your wonderful, wonderful support.